A young man from Gering is making waves as the current school year comes to a close. KNEB.TV News starts right now.
From your trusted source for news in western Nebraska and eastern Wyoming, this is KNEB.TV News. Presented by Platte Valley Companies, premier provider of financial services.
Hello, I'm Ryan Murphy. This is KNEB.TV News powered by Platte Valley Companies. Thanks for joining me. In our top story, a young man from Gering is making waves as the current school year comes to a close. Gering Public Schools and WNCC are celebrating GHS senior Guri Hayer, who this month is doing a dual graduation with a Gering High School diploma and an Associate of Science degree in engineering from the college. Gering Superintendent Nicole Reagan said Hayer is a bulldog through and through.
Guri's journey with Gering Public Schools began back as a kindergartner. His passion at Guile Elementary, his passion for learning coupled with the tireless determination has earned him the admiration and respect of his peers and educators alike.
Hayer says he'll be heading to a partnership program with Georgia Tech and Emory University to major in biomedical engineering.
While doing that, I plan to still continue any research or internship efforts that I have. I will then, after receiving my bachelor's, which I might be able to get within 2 years, I may pursue a master's or a PhD. I'll take the professional engineering exam and also just pursue a job which I can, change the world with.
Guri Hayer is the second student in as many years to be a GHS WNCC dual graduate. Well, a project that will create a long-awaited back taxiway for runway 5 and 23 at Western Nebraska Regional Airport is now a step closer to becoming a reality. All paperwork, including agency agreements and resolutions, have been signed, putting the wheels in motion to create what will eventually be an extension of existing taxiway Echo. Airport Director Raul Aguayo told KNEB News that Senator Deb Fischer was able to secure an additional $3.5 million in earmarked congressional spending that will allow them to create a full 75-foot taxiway, which is what they had originally hoped for.
Because of our aircraft, which is the CRJ-200, which they consider our critical aircraft, we only qualified for a 35-foot wide taxiway. And we wanted that taxiway to be wide enough to cover our main lines during diversion season and during winter operations. So they approved us for 35 feet at the $5.1 million. And then with the $3.5 million that Senator Fischer gave us, they couldn't tell us how to spend it. So we added another 40 feet of pavement to the project, and they approved it. We really thought we were going to be in for a couple-year battle with the FAA, but they approved it right away. So we're very happy for that.
Once the engineering agreement is worked out and finalized, Aguayo says they are hoping to go bid as early as the first of the year or early next year. And Scottsbluff County Commissioners last week gave the green light to a contract to make repairs to the southbound span of the Broadway 10th Street River Bridge. The board had delayed accepting the bid of just over $2.1 million from KEA Constructors of Milford over concerns about funding sources and construction engineering costs. Nearly $1.93 million in ARPA funding will pay for most of the cost, and Road Superintendent Steve Baird discussed the shortfall with Commissioner Russ Reisig.
We will pay for this over 2 years, fiscal years. We'll budget it partially this year and then partially in 25, 26. And then Lisa also said she has some Keno funds or maybe some capital improvement that if necessary we could get into. But I also have some buyback money left and buyback that we can get into if necessary for it.
Baird noted since the cost would be spread out, the county's management accountant said funds were potentially available from Keno or capital improvement funds, as well as the buyback fund. The board approved the bid, and the work is slated to begin in December and take 210 construction days. We'll have more news right after this.
Looking for free instead of fees? Platte Valley Bank can help you keep your finances moving forward with no ATM fees. Whether you're headed to the lake, the mountains, or just to the grocery store, you can enjoy the freedom of free ATM access anywhere, anytime. Platte Valley Bank. You belong here.
Life Care promises us that we are looked after and taken care of properly.
If I didn't have Life Care, I would be probably scared to death about having enough money. for when I got older or when I got sick.
Moving in here was an easy decision and, in fact, a no-brainer. I looked at it as actually buying long-term care insurance, and in retrospect, a good move.
One of the things that convinces me that we did the right thing is no matter what happens, we will constantly be taken care of.
The whole thing is just vital because you don't have to be worried about what's ahead for you. It's there, it's in black and white, and that's reassuring.
This is home. It has been from the day I moved in.
Welcome back. A traffic stop for speeding results in multiple felony charges and a $250,000 bond for the driver. On Monday, a trooper pulled over 37-year-old David Beringer and 35-year-old Marisha Iskrig on Highway 30 in Kimball County. The officer detected the odor of raw marijuana emitting from the pickup, and a subsequent search resulted in the discovery of fentanyl, meth, cocaine, psilocybin mushrooms, marijuana, a digital scale, and 2 machetes. The Cheyenne couple was arrested on charges including possession with intent to distribute and possession of a controlled substance, while Beringer also facing a charge of possession of a deadly weapon by a prohibited person. And authorities say a Thursday afternoon motor vehicle crash is behind a power outage in Scottsbluff and areas west of town. According to Fire Chief Tom Shingle, a power pole was struck by a vehicle on Avenue I. In order for NPPD to make the needed repairs, power had to be shut off in the area so that work could be completed safely. The number of impacted customers was estimated at more than 5,000, according to the NPPD outage map online, and power was restored after about 40 minutes.
Fly United Airlines, operated by SkyWest with Western Nebraska Regional Airport. United is dedicated to going the extra mile for you with daily flights to and from Denver, along with a commitment to excellent service. Reserve your flight today, and remember, United miles can be earned and redeemed with your flights. While at the airport, stop and enjoy authentic Italian food at Roma Italian Restaurant. Plus, Hertz Thrifty Car Rental is there for your car rental needs. Make life easier, relax, and get on board with Western Nebraska Regional Airport.
Welcome to Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. Whether you're a wine enthusiast, a whiskey sommelier, a tequila connoisseur, or you just love your beer, Kelly's has the best selection of what you're looking for. Family owned and operated since 1946 and right on 27th Street in Scottsbluff. Come see us today at Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. And remember to be a good neighbor. Don't drink and drive. Kelly's Liquor, West 27th Street in Scottsbluff.
Benzel Pest Control has been the Wyoming and Nebraska area's most committed professional pest control company. We have 4 generations and nearly 50 years of experience serving Nebraska, Wyoming, and Colorado, as well as certified entomologists on staff. So whether you're dealing with spiders, wasps, rodents, or any other unwanted visitors, give Benzel Pest Control a call today for an estimate at 888-229-2128 or visit our website at benzelpestcontrol.com.
Chad Moyer with you here on the Rural Radio Network. It is time for our Fridays in the Field segment. It's brought to you by FNBO, the Great Big Small Bank. And we're in Howells, Nebraska, visiting with Jeremy Svitak. Jeremy, thanks for joining us here today. We caught up with Jeremy as KTIC is doing some spring breaks, so we brought food to him and his family here in the Howells area. Jeremy, thanks for visiting with us. First of all, tell me a little bit about the spring so far. How did Green Up go for you guys? What was it like in the Howells area in Stanton County this spring?
So spring's been actually pretty good. Started out almost the end of February, and that with some nice weather. We got a bunch of fertilizer and that put on really early this spring, and basically we're caught up and ready for everything. We started planting the 22nd and 23rd of April into some really good conditions at that time, a little dry, and then had 2 weeks of nice weather where it rained and that, which was great. We needed the moisture, and now we're sitting in a time frame where kind of need to keep moving with planting, and we're catching some more nice rain, and there's more forecasted for this weekend and that, and hoping hoping to get some weather in that to keep moving with planting too, though. So it's kind of a double-edged sword in that nature.
Yeah, Jeremy, isn't it interesting that we're talking about planting delays and we're actually having to worry about something that we haven't had to worry about in 3 years, right?
That's correct. We've had pretty good weather in that, and last year was plenty dry, but yet planting conditions that were great. So,
all right. Well, let's talk about corn and soybean planting specifically. Kind of give us the status. Where do you sit right now in terms of corn and soybean planting? How far along are you?
So we started planting corn early on in that 22nd, 23rd of April. We got, probably about 15-20% of our acres in at that point in time, and switched over to soybeans. And we are almost basically, if the weather holds today, we should be able to finish up beans today. If not, after this next rain event, we're about half day from being done with beans. So sitting pretty good on the soybean side, but a fair amount of corn acres to go.
Yep. All right. How about things like your fertilizer program and weed control and things like that? How have those things gone for you this year?
Fertilizer went great. Like I said, we had very early that we were able to get and put our dry fertilizer and anhydrous and that on. Good conditions for that. It wasn't wet in that time frame. Now, since we planted that corn and started soybeans and that before the 2 weeks of wet weather, kind of been a little more difficult trying to keep up with the sprayer and get everything sprayed. We got a couple fields that are soybean, or one field of soybeans that's coming up now. So we're going to have to kind of change our program up a little bit there. Obviously, the herbicide that we were going to plan on using on there is a pre-emergent only. So it's Nebraska. You got to just keep rolling with the punches.
I was going to say, you'd be able to pivot when you have to, right?
Yeah.
So I guess overall, as you kind of think about it, where you're at now compared to the last few years, 3 to 5 years, how do you feel about the spring so far, Jeremy?
It feels good to have the moisture. That's a huge thing. We're 100% dry land on all of our acres. So, we are totally rain fed. We need the moisture. Coming in this year, we've been dry. The drought monitor showed that. It's definitely in a lot better position today than it was 3 weeks ago. So we'll take a 2-week delay on planting and take the moisture instead. So for that part, we're pretty happy. So,
all right, very good. Well, thanks for taking the time and visiting with us. Appreciate it, Jeremy.
Thank you, Chad.
Again, we've been visiting with Jeremy Svitak. He is from the Howells area in Stanton County, and he is our guest on today's Fridays in the Field segment. It's brought to you by FNBO, the Great Big Small Bank.
You deserve to have a building that will last for generations. With more than 110 years of experience and thousands of satisfied customers, Morton Buildings is the industry leader you can trust. If you're planning for a garage, farm shop, horse barn, storage building for your RV, boat, or collectibles, there's no better time to buy. Contact your local Morton sales office or visit mortonbuildings.com to get started today.
Let's take a peek at your weekend community calendar, brought to you by Riverstone Bank. The community calendar is brought to you by Riverstone Bank. We're local and we love our community.
What does it take to get beef from our Nebraska ranches to your table? It takes grit, compassion, and constant care that doesn't stop for weekends or holidays. No matter what it takes, we're proud to raise beef that brings more nutrition to every plate and more enjoyment with every bite. From our families to yours, beef, it's what's for dinner. Brought to you by Nebraska's beef farmers and ranchers.
Tired of feeling stuck? Not sure if you are on the right track? Platte Valley Bank can help keep your finances moving forward with checking account options to fit your lifestyle and an online account chooser to make finding the right account easy. Control your financial future with helpful budgeting tools and automatic savings plans. Now is the time to enjoy the ride with Platte Valley Bank. You belong here.
And finally tonight, Nebraska U.S. Senators Deb Fischer and Pete Ricketts, as well as 3rd District Congressman Adrian Smith, are all welcoming the pause announced late Monday in reorganization plans by the Postal Service. U.S. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy announced the movement of mail processing operations, which included the facility in North Platte, will be paused until January of 2025. Shortly before the announcement, Smith told KNB News that he'd like to see a turning point in the Postal Service's performance, especially for rural America.
The fact of the matter is, the Postal Service always tells us that they want certain things to happen so they can become more efficient. And it generally means closing down a presence in rural America. Well, they tend to shut these down and we don't see improved efficiency.
Last week, a group of senators sent a letter to DeJoy urging him to pause planned changes to its processing and delivery network until the potential impacts are further studied by the Postal Regulatory Commission and addressed by the Postal Service. Well, that does it for us this time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday.